Recording now, Dean. So part 3 of the Audi A5 blog. We've finally got all the suspension, everything else sorted that you saw on the second blog. Lots of work. The bushes take the majority of that. Getting the old ones out are very, very, very difficult. So yeah, not driven it yet. So the next job, before we drive it, we're going to do a full corner weight. And then alignment, which we've had a little look at the wheels and they don't look like they're pointing too bad in a direction, so it should drive pretty straight as it is. But whenever you're taking a full subframe down and changing every arm on a car and every bush, definitely have to do a full alignment. So here's a pile of old parts, some of it scrap, some of it we're going to take next door and give it to Steph at SRS Automotive to sell on, because we know it's all good. Rear calipers and front calipers are always worth some money. The shockers, you can see they're all covered in oil, so they've been burst. I think the last 3 MOTs on this car said that they were weeping. So we're going to sift through this stuff, throw away what we don't need, keep what we do. So the brakes, 345mm Audi A5, same as Audi S4s, pretty much the same as the 345mm that come on the R32 Mark 5 and Mark 6 Golfs, but they don't fit identically, so they're not interchangeable. Obviously got the bigger rear brakes as well, but they're nothing really much to see there. We're running the Pagid RSL 19 pad. They do a 29 as well, which is more track focus. It's 19. Should do what we needed to do. So let's look at some suspension stuff. It's OP. You can see the adjustable top arms. That's to get the camber and the caster, not so much the caster, but mainly the camber exactly where you want it to be, because when you lower them you'll get tongues. So these are a little bit longer than standard at the minute. You obviously need to get it on the alignment on the super tracker to determine exactly where we are. See the coil over there, that'll need a little bit of adjustment, so we're doing the corner weights as well, so we'll try and get something like, it's not a race car so we're not going to go mental. You just see the red of the Eibach anti-roll bar, so they're all fitted on there, same both sides. The rear sort of lower arm bush, it's a fixed bush at the moment, but Powerflex do a caster adjustable one, but we thought we'd do that as a separate video just to explain what that does, why you'd need it and why it's better than this one. So we'll have a look at the back. So the shocks on the rear, it's what they call a divorced setup where the spring and the shock are separate. Makes things a little bit more difficult when you're doing calculations on your race car suspension, but as far as the road car is concerned, it can make things a little bit easier to adjust your rear height. You didn't have to take your wheel off. You see again the Eibach anti-roll bar, they're a bit bigger than the standard one. Hopefully that's going to stop the understeer that these sort of chassis are known for. The Powerflex bushings for the subframe. I don't really think I mentioned last time, we've gone for the yellow ones on the rear subframe because of that, and the diff, because we don't want any resonance going through the bodywork, because diesels especially can be very, very noisy, so we'll try and keep those to a minimum. We've got the braided brake hose as well, you can just see them here, which they fit just exactly as the factory ones do, but you're not going to have them expanding or rubbing through as easily. Pork and gives an amp. Let's get these scales on. These are made by Intercomp in the USA. Very, very good. Work a treat. Use them for all our race cars. So road, race this is the setting that we want to choose for this. It gives us the right information. So you can see this is a very heavy car. First time we've corner weighted it, so it's absolutely ridiculous how much it weighs. Compared to the roads that weigh like 820 kilograms, something like that. Our track car, that's 1,080, something around there, maybe a little bit more depending what ballast and what fuel we're running. It was about 1,200 kilograms race weight, so going to need to make a lot of power, 500 plus. So we'll just Paul's going to jump in the driver's seat and we'll see what difference that makes. As you can see, with a driver and a passenger, we're knocking on 940 kilograms, so very, very heavy. Nothing we can do about that at this moment in time. But the corner weights are pretty good, to be honest. We're I think we'll go around and measure the ride heights just to make sure they're as even as we want them to. But I don't think there's really any need to be playing around with this and trying to get a little bit. 10 kilograms difference is a lot, but it's not, for a car this heavy, it's not a lot at all. So we'll measure the ride heights, make sure we're not a million mile away each side. So 643, let's say that is. Check the other rear one. Absolutely perfect, so no need to adjust the height. Leave the corner weights as they are, so just one last look and just see if there's anything more I want to look at. Yeah, it's all good. So the first job after the corner weights are finished and you're happy with them, get it on the turn plates, check nothing's binding up, and do the caster. On this car, to adjust the caster, it's not straightforward in any car, but this one we've got the adjustable arm, so we can give it a little tickle there and even it out a little bit. We ended up with 5.5 degrees both sides on this. A track car like Eibach is probably running 7 degrees, maybe a little bit more. More the better. The caster angle is what determines your camber gain when you're turning, which obviously if you're leaning on the car and turning a lot, you want more camber, so you've got a nice flat contact patch. So you don't need the super trackers on to do that, just use a camber gauge. For doing the caster, the next thing you need to check is your camber. So we'll do the front camber first, run round. We ended up getting that to 1.9. 2.1 would have been ideal, but we set it at that, and we'll alter that based upon the track driving. Obviously it's going to be used for a lot of various purposes and we don't want to be changing everything every time we try and use a car, so we'll leave it at that. And if we're getting loads of tyre wear on the outside edge, then we might have to put a little bit more on when we're at the track and then decide whether we want to take that off when we're just on the road. Drag racing, you don't want any camber really, depending on what it does when it squats and pitches, so we'll figure that out at the track as well. So with all the camber's all checked and verified, you get onto the toe then. So we always try and do the rear toe, and couldn't get any less than 5 degrees, so we definitely need some adjustable rear arms for these, which after trying to do this we realised do exist. You see why Audi had built toe in as the car gets lowered, because you don't want to hit a bump and the wheel toe out, because that'd make it feel like the back end's coming out. So once we've done the caster, we've got the camber somewhere near where we want to go. The rear, I think we ended up with 1.3 degrees on the back. So the front, we towed it neutral, parallel, whatever you want to call it, zero toe, in or out, so it's pointing perfectly straight. That won't be the perfect setup for track. You can maybe have a little bit of toe out on the front, but we'll leave it at parallel for now. The rear, to be confirmed after we've got some more adjustable arms, but we're probably going to run that parallel and maybe a little bit of toe in, see how back end happy it is. But like on a front wheel drive track car, we'd be running maybe a degree of toe out on the rear just to make the car rotate, which is the opposite of understeer. It's not really, you're not going to be drifting it, but
you'd turn and the back end would follow the front a lot nicer than if you had towing. What you can also check with the super trackers is if your axles are offset to each other, so you're crabbing, which this car were absolutely perfect. So considering we'd had all the subframes off, that was pretty good. So on to the next chapter, which should be test driving and tuning.